Ah, self-Atari. I have a self-Atari to report today. I self-Atari'd in a correspondence game. That's the worst. I have all the time in the world to look at my moves. And the thing is, I looked at that self-Atari and I thought to myself, I'm not falling for that. Several moves. And one day I was just caught off guard. I was not careful enough and I played my move and boom. I mean, it happens. But I hope that kind of encourages those who are experiencing self-Ataris at all levels, because even at this level that I'm supposedly at, I commit self-Ataris. And maybe, it just kind of speaks to the rust of my Go skill nowadays. But I'm ashamed of it, and I will try to work hard on not doing that again for at least the rest of the year, I think, is a reasonable goal for avoiding self-Ataris at this level. You're listening to Starpoint, the show about Go for Go fans away from the board. I have an episode today lined up for you guys to talk about a little bit of cross-disciplinary stuff. And the question I'm about to ask is how people really get good at this game. And it's an appropriate question to ask right now because apparently I suck at this game and I Atari my own stones, a very large group of stones, and lose the game that way. Or actually, I was already losing according to AI, so it makes me feel less bad. If I was winning the game and I did that and lost the game, that would be a real punch in the gut. But this is a small, not as real punch in the gut. But anyway, in asking the question of how anyone gets good at this game or anything that matter, I wanted to think a little bit up outside the box. It's something I've done before on the show. But before I get into it at all, I want to share with you guys a clip that I encountered a while back that is kind of relevant, but maybe it'll help you get in the right mindset for this topic today.
In the 1990s, kids were having a successful cardiac surgery, and then something was going wrong between surgery and ICU in the transition process where kids were needlessly losing their lives. The hospital tried to do every single thing they could for almost 10 years. They're trying to fix the problem, they can't. One day, two surgeons are in the surgeon lounge watching TV, and they see this Formula One race. You've seen the pit crews do this beautiful dance. Nobody even speaks to each other. It takes a couple of seconds. The car races off. It's amazing to watch. So they're watching this, and they're like, I wonder if a pit crew could come and watch us do our thing, if they could advise us on how to do the transition better. And the people at the hospital were like, that is the worst idea anyone here has had. It would take us months to just explain to them what's happening. And the surgeons were like, well, we've tried everyone else's idea, so why don't we do the mechanic thing? So they bring in the Ferrari Formula One pit crew. The pit crew puts together a report saying, man, your team is so terrible at this one thing. It's amazing. Because people are plugging things in and unplugging them across each other. People are shouting directions across each other. There's no order in how things are supposed to go. There's no person who's in charge of an order. The experts address all of the issues, reduce errors by 66%, and save countless lives. They actually created a standard that is now used worldwide in children's hospitals, and all because the experts could get out of their own way and bring in a pit crew.
Isn't that incredible? I thought that was so impactful, and it really spoke to the part of me that is the learner and the improver, in seeing that expertise in different domains can really cross-pollinate and help each other. So, I mean, I feel like if you're working at a hospital, there is no way you're going to think, I'm going to invite a pit crew over and help diagnose our issues. That takes some real bravery to do. And the fact that it worked in this particular situation, where they immediately saw the problems that you would not normally see, from any other perspective. And the fact that they have this thinking of efficiency, that's what they're focused on, and then they brought them in and they saw all the problems instantly, it's beautiful, I think. So I think this clip is a little relevant to what I've been thinking about lately in terms of improvement mindset in Go. Because I've been, as I mentioned last week on Start Point, I've been kind of into guitar. I've been in a guitar phase or era again, and been really trying to kind of add some level of skill to my current level of guitar playing. And though I am playing guitar, I'm also always thinking about Go. And I think I've done a reflection of this and come to some conclusions I want to share with you. So, as I play, right, as I'm trying to drill my guitar skills and improve and everything, I'm asking myself, all right, what's the secret? What's the formula for success? What's the recipe? What do I need to do? What plan do I need? And what drills do I need to do in order to get to the next level? And I find myself wondering that exact same thing all the time in Go. When I'm playing Go and I'm trying to improve, I'm always wondering, like, what's that secret sauce that I need? What's the formula? What do I need to do? Someone tell me A, B, C, D steps to get to dawn level or above. And I was thinking about this, and I realized this pattern of thought that I've always come into. And then I took a slow down and looked back at myself and said, wait, hold on a second. Now I am always looking to get better than my current position, but there are plenty of people out there who wish to get to my position, whether it is in Go or guitar. And what would I tell them? Like, if they're itching for that roadmap, if they're itching for that improvement cycle, that secret sauce, what would I tell them? Like, I clearly have the secret sauce for my current skill level, so I should be able to explain to them the steps that you should take to get to my level. And yet, the answer is not really it doesn't present itself as a formula for success. I'm going to be using guitar and Go in tandem as I walk through this topic to really just emphasize the similarities of the two in terms of how improvement is reached. Because I think for me, the guitar was my passion when I was in like a teenager age, and I hadn't even like touched. Well, that was the time, actually. This is funny, when my guitar skills were the focus of my life. Back when I was in like high school, that was when my other friend was trying to reel me into Go, and I was refusing. I was like, I don't know about that, man. Like, that's not really interesting to me. But funny, it's funny that kind of coincided still back then. But that was around the teenage years, and as a teenager, you're not really somebody who puts systems into place and practices diligently. I mean, maybe, not me, right? People out there, maybe they have a more organized approach. I was not one of those people. And so I'm looking at how I got to where I got to in terms of guitar. Now, there's always like situational environmental factors, right? I had piano lessons before, so I had a strong foundation of some kind of theory, and I had some lessons here, for a while, and there's all this other stuff that adds to it, so that no formula really fits any one person. But I'm looking at guitar, and I'm looking at how I got to where I got to, where some group of people may say about my skills, hey, I would love to be where you are. How do I get there? And the answer here is not, oh, well, actually, my first instinct is to tell them, hey, practice your scales, do this, do that, learn songs, and list out. And that would sound just like people giving advice about Go in the same way. Do lots of tsumego, play lots of games, review your game. That's the normal advice everybody gives. And it's reasonable, right? Your question is, what are the steps? That's the question. What are the steps? And so you give them steps. But I feel like most people who get good at things didn't follow steps. Maybe in some form or another, yes. Okay, there are some steps they maybe took, but let's dive into what I'm talking about here. If I were to really boil down the skills acquired and how I acquired them in a more descriptive way that is true to what drove me to improve, there are three things I think that came into play. And the first one is having fun. It's simple. Like, I loved playing guitar, and I had a lot of fun just doing whatever it was I was doing on the guitar. And that was such a huge thing for improvement, because if you're enjoying things, time just kind of, it just disappears, and you can spend as much time in that space as possible and just learn. And fun is really like, if you think about how animals, when they're, especially predatory animals, when they're young, they often like to play, right? Like lion cubs. And one theory is that part of that playing is just learning how to do the real thing as they mature. And yet, we're different. Like, human beings are different. We don't just learn for a small period of our lives and then mature, and then now we're just in full hunt mode, not really learning as much for the rest of our lives as most animals do. We learn from day one to day end of life, and we constantly learn and continually learn. And it just doesn't stop. We are constant learners, and I think that is quite a unique feature of humankind, and we should take advantage of that. And part of that is that it's easiest to learn when you're having fun. Like, you look at kids today, right? And you ask them about certain subjects in school and history, and they don't know what you're talking about. But you ask them about something that they're interested in, Minecraft, Roblox, or whatever their passion is. Maybe they're just really interested in like cooking or science or something, right? But there's that spark that kids have, and every kid has some kind of spark. And when you ask them about that spark, they have this crazy knowledge of it. Why? Because they learned it through just having fun. And so I think I feel like with the guitar, it was easier for me to have fun. I think with Go and guitar, there is a big roadblock into this first part of having fun, because you need to have a certain amount of knowledge before you start having fun. When you start playing guitar, your strings sound like dead bees, right? When you start playing Go, you're just like, you feel like a caveman. And so it's not fun at first. But once you get that first hurdle over with, like, and I imagine Starpoint listeners mostly have crossed over that hurdle to the point where Go can be fun. For me, it was a little easier to have fun playing guitar than it is with Go. Go is fun, but it can be painful too. Like guitar, it's like you can try a song and fail at it and feel like you're not very good at it. Well, you can go back to what you're comfortable with and just kind of have fun with whatever you like to do. And you don't have to pressure yourself to do that. With Go, I guess you could always just do easy tsumego. But when you're playing games, right? When you're playing games, it's not going to always go your way, and that's not always fun. And it's like deranking, and that's very demotivating. So people often lose this part, right? They don't chase the fun. They are focused on improving, and they forget about the fun part. And the fun part, I really want to emphasize the exploration and being drawn to what you like type of thing. That is the kind of fun I'm talking about. So when you're playing Go or playing guitar or doing whatever it is you're doing, the natural inclination to just want to do something in that realm, following that, I've heard this advice also before in regards to Go, just study what you're interested in, right? Is a very, very good way to improve. And I think this having fun or chasing the fun is maybe a better way to put it. Chasing the fun or following the fun it's twofold. And that second part of it, I will talk as the third thing. But number one is chasing the fun. Number two is like the other wing of this equation, right? You can't just, something's missing, right? Obviously, if it was just about fun, everyone would just chase fun and then they would just get really good at Go and they'd be like, wow, I'm awesome at Go. And I have no problem with it because I just like having fun playing Go. And it's not really a story that you hear very often. And I think just to emphasize, right, if you look at the greatest players and or people who are the best at something, they love it. They love it, right? They just love doing it. That's all they want to do. And that's, if you don't have that, it's very hard to get better than where you are if you're not enjoying it, having fun. So anyway, back to the second wing of this thing. So if you have two wings, one side being chasing the fun, the other side, I'm going to call it being inspired. So in relation to my story with the guitar, I was having fun, yes, but in that fun was also looking at the greats and looking at what they could do, listening to different sounds and wanting to do those things and wishing I could do those things. And that inspired me. That stirred something in me to say, like, I want to achieve that. Likewise with Go, right? You look at certain players and how good they are, and you want to be able to be as good as them. And that's a little different, right? Because guitar has this, like, it's a musical creative kind of thing where Go is more of like a logical creative thing. So it's not the same really, right? You can be inspired by professional players, but it can be very difficult if you're at a lower level. And even at my level, it's very hard to be inspired by the actual play of certain players. So whereas I would say if you want to improve in the guitar, you should be inspired by different sounds and different ways people use the instrument to create music. The parallel might sound like in Go to look at the pro players and see what they're doing. And many people do find inspiration that way. But what I would actually suggest in Go is to consume Go media like Starpoint or Hikaru no Go, or watch a pro game without thinking too hard. Just look at how they play, read about what professional players do, read about insight, read about culture, read about history of Go. I think these things are always such a great way to become inspired. And once you get that inspiring feeling for Go, you immediately want to put more effort into the game and be more serious about the game. Or it can be just watching different YouTubers talk about the game. One of my favorite things when I watch Go lessons on YouTube is when the Go teacher or YouTuber who's showing you something breaks off into a little monologue about the game. And it's always great because, like, I've watched, I feel like pretty much everybody that I've watched does this at some point. You'll watch this series of like standard, I don't know, it's like a Joseki teaching series, or it is a tsumego teaching series, and then you'll be watching them one by one. It'll be routine, and it'll be like, okay, yeah, they're just gonna go through the thing, or they're gonna review this pro game. But every now and then, they just feel like they have to add their 2 cents about something, and I love those moments because I feel like they're really inspiring, and they tell you a little more personal stuff about how to improve or what the right approach is, or, things like that. I love that stuff, and I think that's great for improvement. It definitely motivates you to improve. All right, so why is this important, right? So I had chasing the fun on one side. Well, chasing the fun will allow you to learn naturally and easily. Being inspired will motivate you to reach higher than your current level, which is important. So reaching higher than your current level. If I were to just chase the fun in Go, I might just review pro games. Maybe that's what I find fun. Or maybe I'll even sandbag, play against weaker opponents and just win. Maybe that's what's fun for me. Or maybe I'll just stick to my usual like easy level tsumegos, and that's my fun. But if I become inspired and I wish to be better because of that inspiration, then I'll say, oh, you know what? I really want this. I want to be better. And I want to work hard at it. And I want to do something a little outside my comfort zone in order to improve. Now, it's funny because with the guitar, I said that chasing the fun was easier for guitar and harder for Go. But here I think it is a little bit the other way. I feel like the improvement mindset is such a heavy thing in Go culture that it's easy to just want to be better and want to work for it. Whereas guitar, I was at a certain point, and I have like a certain amount of skill. I'm just kind of like, I'm good here. I don't need to get any better than this. And maybe it's easy to just kind of chase the fun. And once you get to that point, you're just enjoying yourself. Go is a little harder to just stay where you are. I feel sometimes it's just, I don't know. It just feels like you have, there's some kind of looming thing over you, and everyone has a different relationship with this. Some people feel like that's the only thing. Some people feel like, they have been able to fully let go of that, and they are in a place where they're just chasing the fun. But I mean, if we want to talk about getting better at the game, then you do have to reach a little higher. And so these two wings lift you up, chasing the fun. So you have a natural road of discovery, a natural perspective of learning, and it's like lubricant versus being inspired, that kind of kick, right? To push you forward, do things and learn new things, try new things, experiment, and absorb new knowledge. And this usually prompts the what are the steps questions. But I will answer that with this third final thing that I've noticed, which is living in the space, is what I'll call it. Whatever you're into, whatever you're learning, Go or guitar or anything else, you need to spend a lot of time with it. Okay? Spending a lot of time with it. So I think this is maybe the step that is missing sometimes from people who are very inspired to get better, and they feel like they want to do more or find a formula they can follow, but it's just everything seems to fall short. Nothing seems to be the right answer to the question. And every time you try to start something, it seems like it's not really working quite the way you expected it to. And this is something I've learned recently, and it's like a reminder in my recent guitar journeys, is as I've been playing more often, right, I have all these questions of how to get better. And when I started playing more, I was like, oh, am I spending my time right? Am I doing everything I need to do to get better? But I wasn't sure about it. But as I played more and more, and I spent more time, I noticed more things about how I could improve. Does that make sense? So like, I can't really improve if I'm not in the space and I don't know what it is that I need to improve. It's kind of like, It's kind of like, maybe I'll give a couple analogies. One is entering a new home, right? Let's say you're living in a new home. When you first move in, and you may feel like, okay, is this good or bad? Like, what are the pros and cons of this place? And you can notice the big things. Oh, there's a big space here. This room is here, and there's a nice closet space here. Or, but it seems like a little old, right? You can kind of see certain broad strokes. And then you're trying to figure out what to do, right? But let's say you live in it more, and you live in it for a month. Okay, you live in it for a month. You're like, oh, you know what? This place gets a little chilly at times, right? It gets a little chilly at times. You start noticing more things, and you start adapting, right? Of course, you want to be comfortable. And then you live in it for a year, 2 years, 10 years. After 10 years, you're like, oh yeah, Dave the neighbor always brings cookies over during this time of year. And like, you just get so much more familiar with the place. And that level of detail is kind of impossible to get without spending time in the space. And if you view the space of a hobby like Go as a space like that, then spending more time in that space, I feel you will start to notice things more and more about what you're playing, what you're doing, what you need to do, and what you need to do to improve. This is kind of an epiphany moment when I was playing guitar, and I've been playing a little more consistently lately. And going into it, I have all these questions, and after like a couple weeks in, I start noticing, hey, you know what? This area of improvement I could do, or this area of improvement I could drill a little harder, or I could try this. And that only comes from spending time in that space. So I think that when you, like, a lot of people say play lots of games. And I think that kind of comes down to this piece of advice of living in the space. Because when you play a lot of games, when you do a lot of things, like a lot of advice is just play a lot of games or do a lot of tsumego, or, just do it a lot, right? Lose your first 50 games. That is spending time in the space, living in the space. And when you do that, you're allowing your brain to soak in more and more detail about what you're doing. I remember an anecdote of Ben Feingold. If you are a chess enthusiast, you may have heard of that name. He's just one of those chess YouTubers. And I think he's a grandmaster. So he was explaining to people how he got good at chess. And what he said was that he loved going to the chess club and spending time at chess club. That's all he wanted to do. And he just spent so much time there. And, he wasn't necessarily the best player there, but one day, he looked around and realized that he got good. And I think that's a beautiful way to put it. And just spending time in the space can really help you get better at whatever it is you're doing. So just to recap, the formula for success that I've laid out here is not the typical formula that you normally see of first you learn tsumego, then you learn joseki, and then you do this many drills of that, play this many games per week and review this many games. All that stuff, yes, is important. But I think something about whoever achieves greatness in anything is that they figure out how to do that on their own. A lot of the time. Maybe not all the time. Maybe there are exceptions. Maybe some people are very, very obedient apprentices and they've achieved what they've achieved through a strict training regimen. But just look at anyone who's strong at your Go club or anyone you know and think about their path to their level of the game. It's really a natural path that they took. Right? Whatever appealed to them, and it's not going to apply the same way to you, right? They may give you advice that is something that applied to them that may not work necessarily for you. And so I am kind of advising you to find in your own heart to search for the things that you're compelled to do through a more natural way, chasing the fun, being inspired, reaching for the stars, and yet also enjoying the process and spending a lot of time with it. I think that is another key, right? So don't be afraid of not knowing the answers of what the next step is in your journey, because those answers will come as you spend more time with whatever you're doing. So hopefully that appealed to some of you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of that as well. There's this kind of ramp up, warming up kind of process to living in the space with anything, I think. If you are just starting out, to get back into it, or you haven't done something in a long time, it can feel very rigid and not as appealing. It feels kind of clumsy when you try. But the more you put it into like a daily practice, it becomes more fluid, more attractive, and you'll feel a pull. I feel this with everything, right? If I'm in a particularly exercise heavy mindset, or at the beginning, like if I haven't gone to the gym in a while, it's very sluggish. I'm like, really don't want to go. But then if you get that motor running, and I'm like going very consistently, and I'm starting to improve, and I start to look forward to it. I'm like, wow, I really want to go to the next workout. Or same with guitar. At first, I pick it up and I'm like, what do I even do? Like, I don't even remember. I just play my old riffs that I remember playing, and that's all I really do. And then if I continue to do that day after day, I'm like, wow, I'm excited to play. I feel like I need that guitar on my lap. That's something what I did when I was a teenager. I always had it on my lap, like 24/7. Not literally, but I would be like browsing YouTube with a guitar on my lap and like clicking around and playing guitar every now and then, and it was just a living and breathing thing. And so with the Go board, I think I can do the same thing by having it out. I told you I've been having it out recently, and that actually has fed a lot of my inspiration for playing Go. Not enough for me to actually play Go, obviously, but I think it's a step. Like you read Go books, you put out your Go board, you put a couple stones down, start reviewing a program, just a little tiny toe in the water. And if you can get that to be consistent, and if you can keep playing games, you realize that you want to. I feel like that's something that I've noticed about everything is the more you do something, the more you want to do it. And I will get back into that with Go. But right now I'm in a guitar zone. If I feel like I'm kind of just like burnt out on the guitar, maybe I'll switch gears into Go. And then I'll do whatever I just told you guys here in this podcast, although I'll probably forget of doing these things to get back in. But yeah, the whole point was just to inspire the inner self to latch onto the most natural paths of learning for anything that you're trying to achieve, but especially Go. Now it's time for the DDK Advice Corner, and the tip of the day is explain your reasoning. So whenever you make a move, before you put it down, try to explain your reasoning for going there. Weigh your consequences and actions. Say things like, well, I'm going to go here instead of there because it doesn't really matter if that group gets disconnected. And this will add a little pressure to the other group. Right? Just as simple as that. Just as you're playing, make mental notes of what you're doing, why you're doing these things, instead of just blankly doing them. I think everyone's seen reviews of games where the student, the teacher will say, "Why did you go here?" And the student will very, 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 very often shrug and say, "I just thought that was, I don't know, I don't remember." Right? So I think that being more conscious of your reasoning for moves is a great way to practice strategic thinking, and your reasons might be wrong. Okay, you may think to yourself, "Oh, I'm going to go here because I feel like this group is weak, and this maybe has like a dual purpose of also reducing my opponent's moyo." Maybe that's your reasoning, and maybe you're totally wrong. Like the group was totally alive already, and you didn't need to do that, and it's a slow move, and whatever, right? That might be the case. But I think it's very healthy to practice your reasoning, to say it under your breath, in your head, or out loud if that's if you're in an appropriate environment for that, to explain your reasoning for every move that you play. Well, maybe not every single move, but just try to do it to make it part of your practice. And now it's time for listener mail. Alrighty, we got some catch up to do. First off, we have Solara writing, I don't remember the episode number, Buzzsaw probably knows, regarding taking breaks and coming back and playing way, way better just happened to me. I think I've mentioned that a few times. I don't think I did like a whole episode on it or anything. But yeah, that is a phenomenon that I believe in, and I think I've seen anecdotes of. And here is another anecdote, I imagine. I took about a month off and enjoyed some video games and reading books. I'm about a 9 to 10 Q. I attended my local Go club and was, according to a 3-dan and a 2Q, to have been playing at a 5 to 6Q level. Well, that's really good to hear from a 3-dan and a 2Q. I know 2 or 3 games isn't quite conclusive enough, but I definitely believe there's something to taking breaks. Do pros take breaks? Do they just push through and just play for fun and that's their break? Or all these breaks they took were when they were kids, when it was easier to without professional pressure? You know what? I don't know. I feel like, pros are a lot like us in many ways, and I think that a lot of them do take breaks, but it's hard to say. I would say, I don't know about the top of the top bros, but I think you have a really big grab bag of people in the professional world, so I imagine there are big break takers in them, right? And 2 or 3 games might not be conclusive enough, and you can never know with a human just saying oh yeah, you are about a 5-6Q, but if you're up to it, you should go back to whatever server you were on and see if that's true. Because that, I think, is the yardstick there. But even if you don't improve in the rankings there, I would say whatever you're feeling right now, I guess I would ask you, do you feel like you're improving? Because when I improve, I feel like I've improved before my rank reflects it. I can already sense something is better, and I feel like I trust that a little more than the actual rank sometimes, and then the rank starts to reflect it at some point. But yeah, that's the yardstick, really, the online server rank, or if you're fancy, you can do the Go Association rank of whatever region you're in. But anyway, thanks for writing in, Solara. Rico DLC writes, I'm going through the backlog of episodes I've missed, and I just listened to the 4 Houses episode. As a fun fact, Go shares a parallel history here with Shogi. In addition to the Go school, Tokugawa Ieyasu established a Shogi school that was dominated by 2 houses, the Ohashi and the Ito. Unlike Go, the Shogi Meijin wasn't a title that could be won, but a hereditary title. Meijin was the rank of the noble in charge. Up until 1900, the Shogi Meijin was always from either the Ohashi house or the Ito house, with the 2 houses often adopting each other to keep the heritage going. All this is really interesting. I love that there was also this parallel Shogi thing going on. If anyone knows more about this, and what I'm specifically curious about is how the Go houses kind of viewed the Shogi houses. Was there more prestige to one or the other? How did the people, view these things? I love to know that comparison if anybody has any insight. But Rico DLC has more to say. In 1937, Meijin Sekine Kinjiro abolished the hereditary nature of the title, and it became a tournament. By the way, Honimbo Sansa was also very nearly the first Shogi Meijin. Wow. Honimbo Sansa was, for a brief period, served as both the Go Dokoro as well as the Shogi Dokoro. The oldest Shogi Kifu we still have recorded was a game between Honimbo and Ohashi Soke in 1607. Ohashi defeated him and proved to the shogun that he was more fit to be Meijin, which led to Honimbo putting his focus completely on Go. I love the history of these games, and I would love to hear more episodes about Go history. It seems like you would be telling me more about Go history than I would be. That was all really fascinating. I really appreciate the comment. And I think it's very interesting that the Meijin was kind of like a bloodline title. Makes it feel kind of royal, but also doesn't make sense in terms of the actual game. Glad that it converted to a skill-based thing. But yeah, that's all super fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that, Rico DLC. Next up, we have It's Ben. This is so interesting. I have always thought that presenting Go in a similar way to the BBC broadcasting snooker would work well. Snooker is akin to Go, especially the World Championship at the Crucible Theatre. It is quiet, intense, and has excellent commentary. The game of snooker was never especially popular, but with television coverage, its popularity has grown, inspiring more players and a greater international following. If this could be emulated with Go, it could be very successful. Alrighty, yeah, that's pretty, I don't know, I've never seen the BBC broadcasting of snooker, and I also am not 100% clear on what snooker is, whether it is billiards or all this different games. Billiards is a genre of games, I believe, right? And then you have 8-ball, 9-ball, and things like that inside billiards. Is that what it is? Is snooker just another term for billiards? I have a lot of questions about this. I bet there's a similar Starpoint podcast for snooker. But here's my response to this. The thing is that people like watching things happen, and especially in a physical sense. If you look at something like snooker, let me just make sure you're not talking about something totally different. Snooker is a cue sport played on a large green table with 6 pockets, using a white cue balls, 15 red balls, 1 point. So it looks like it's a. Okay, it looks like it is a specific billiards game. Okay, so snooker is a game within billiards, using a billiards table. Okay, so anyway, so what I'm saying here is snooker involves hitting something and watching it move. Now that is the pinnacle of sports entertainment, right? You hit something or push something and watch it move. That's golf, that's hockey, that's soccer, football, that's, even in American football, you hit bodies and watch them move. That is why snooker, although maybe not as popular as those other sports I just mentioned, it works, right? You're sitting at a bar, you watch the screen, you're like, oh look, he's hitting the ball over there. It's like, great, looks like he got it in the hole. And you're able to just kind of put together some kind of story in your head. And maybe you're wrong about it, and then you start asking questions like, oh, why is he hitting that ball? Why is he going in that order? Like, whose turn is it, right? You start asking questions, you start learning. Go, on the other hand, you watch these patterns play out on the screen, and there's no way, right? You look at somebody casually walking into a bar, and they may very well be interested in what they see, that black and white pattern on the screen. Very, very striking, incredible. But they look at it and they see people placing stones in random positions, and they start taking stones off the board, and man, is it going to be hard to just figure out anything that's going on. And even after you figure it out, even as a real life Go player who knows what they're doing, you don't know what's going on. It's very hard. So, I mean, I would love to see it. I would really love to see it. But to me, I think my opinion is that Go media, in the story and intensity of characters and things like that, and atmosphere and history, that kind of stuff is what really draws people to the game. So if we had a Queen's Gambit for Go, that would really be, I think, huge. But anyway, that was a very interesting little side discussion about snooker. Thank you so much for your comment. It's Ben. Crispy Toast writes, I think there are several things required to make Go more exciting to watch. Number 1, faster games. While it is nice to join a stream and see the professionals play, waiting 15 minutes between moves kills lots of motivation to continue watching. There needs to be tournaments with blitz/rapid time settings, 5 minutes plus 15 seconds, in order to constantly see the board changing. Yes, I 100% agree. I think it's really a huge reason why I can't really watch games. And if they were faster, I can, with my low-level mind, consider a few possibilities for moves, and then they'd make a move, and I'd be like, great, that was an interesting move. Then move on to the next move. I don't have the brain power or skill to contemplate for 15 minutes and watch the commentators play out 30 variations and consider different things. So 100% agree. And also, sports have always adjusted their rules and the way they play to to entertain the crowd more, right? You have balls certain colors because they show up better on the screen. You have formats and the times of the games structured specifically so that they're good for television. So we need to adjust, with the times a little bit. And I feel like faster games is definitely something I definitely agree with. Number 2, better stream presence. Like you mentioned, stats. There should be player cards that pop up and show the stats of the players. Win-loss record of this tournament. Win-loss this year. Win-loss lifetime. Average time per move, average point difference in games, favorite food, etc. Yes, 100%. I totally agree with that. You need to paint a picture of the players. You need to have a better idea of who these people are. And I love these stats that you've mentioned. I want to add some more like captures, right? This player, why don't we see that? Like this player has like 30 more captures than the average, right? Than per game, right? That's like, whoa, well, what is this player doing? Or something like that. Anything like, plays 4.90% of games. Why don't we have these stats? Like these should be a thing. And, I'm interested, and that would make me more likely to tune in. 2.5, better stream overlays in general. They have, it's funny because you said, oh, never mind. I thought you said 4 things. Never mind. Scratch that. 2.5, better stream overlays in general. They have improved recently, but clearly showing the player color, how much time they have left. The players and the boards need some work. The multiple cameras to show the clocks is a great start, but it should be linked digitally so that it is easy to see on the stream. I think technology is still behind for some reason. We can't show like a one-to-one digital view of a clock. Might be, I don't know, it's just kind of so, some of the events are really grassroots and it's difficult to get to that point. I don't know if there's like a standard clock that allows that. What do the chess players do? They use like the DG something board to track their moves, I know, but is there a clock that they plug into a system that allows us to see it? Or has anybody done that? Like why not? Or if I don't know. But yeah, better stream overlays, and it always sucks when you tune into a game and you just can't figure out who's what color. Like why? It's like it has to be obvious as soon as you get in. Number 3, easy to grasp game state. You covered this a bit in your episode, but being able to quickly tell the state of the board is needed for non-Don players. Many streams have started showing the AI win percentage and the results of the last move, but I think seeing the Katago estimated zones like a heat map that interpolates between solid black for definite black points to grays to clear if it's undecided, then back to solid white for white points every 10 or so moves would allow a clear picture of where the points are. Using overlay magic to make dead stones semi-apparent would also be helpful to clean up the board. Yeah, lots of ways to implement it, and because there's so many ways to implement this stuff, I think that is the challenge. Like, what is the best way to do it? What is too much information? What is not enough information? I think I would appreciate any kind of experimentation in this regard. So I think all these things I totally agree with. So thanks for your listener mail, Crispy Toast. Next, Chloe writes, I tuned into the California State Championship on Twitch, and I thought the commentators all did a good job with interacting with chat and the players to make it as entertaining as possible. Me being one of the commentators, I thank you for what percentage of my commentating, hopefully, that I counted towards that. Go can be made intense or exciting regardless of skill or game knowledge. It all boils down to commentator and player personalities. On your point about rivalry, drama and stakes promote intrigue. A rivalry is cool to watch, but that's only if they're being spicy about it. Who wants to watch a quiet game between two rivals with stale game commentary to back it up? Yeah, that's true. The thing is, Go players are usually so mild-mannered that it just doesn't happen as often. But basically what we're asking for is some more kudges in the world, which I'm not going to argue with. And, oh man, Lidgate. Although it was there was a lot of disappointing things about Lidgate, it was spicy and interesting, wasn't it? It was fun to talk about. Got a little heated for some folks, but, let's go. And it's, we gotta make it interesting somehow, even though I'm not saying the game isn't interesting, but all that stuff, it really helps. And in terms of a social media perspective and a social entertainment perspective, characters, personalities, all that stuff, definitely important. So thanks for writing in, Chloe. And finally, we have 2 comments from Sadaharu because we're catching up on one. But one of them is, I agree with pretty much everything you say except one thing. I want to see the Go board by itself without any fancy indicators. I find it distracting when there are a bunch of indicators showing territory, etc., and I just want to enjoy the board by itself. If the commentator occasionally draws some things on the board to help explain, it's fine, but if it stays there permanently, it makes it hard to watch. Even chess just needs arrows, question marks, and exclamation marks, so I don't think we need that much for Go. Technology will help, but eventually what matters most are the characters of the players and the commentators. I guess that's why people like players such as Koje and Lee Sedol. For the commentators, even though Baduk TV is doing very well, I haven't found any commentators like those in chess who talk a lot with a lot of energy and emotion. I think, will you say that you agree with everything except one thing, and that and you want to just see the Go board naked? And that's what I want, actually, myself. I really like seeing just the Go board by itself. Which is why when I described some of the things that I described in terms of overlays and stuff, that it would be like an interactive, it's wishful thinking, but like an interactive optional thing that you can turn on and off. But yeah, I mean, I'll at the same time, Sadaharu, you're someone who understands the Go board a lot better than most people, so it's fair to say that you may not really need those indicators as much as others. So a little bit of a bias there, but overall, even as like player of my level or even weaker, like Go boards with just the stones on them it's such a good experience to be able to just contemplate what's on there at any level. I think that freedom I really like and I support. Your comment about Baduk TV commentators and stuff, I feel like the thing is that they're still in the TV broadcast mindset, right? Whereas the commentators in chess have quickly adapted in terms of like the Twitch world, YouTube, and it's a very different space and feeling and vibe. Whereas I think Baduk TV is definitely still in that old school TV type professionalism and kind of thing. And I feel like chess was also kind of at that point pre-PogChamps. And if you watch the original PogChamps, I think like if you look at the beginning, when I first saw like Alex Botez, for example, her initial debut is just like a professional chess commentator, and then it slowly starts to like build up into like this huge personality with like who gets really mad and slams the desk and shakes the camera and stuff like that, right? Like you would have never expected that if you just go back and watch like the very beginning. Like it was a complete evolution. And so I don't know, Baduk TV, Go commentary, like, you know, you have people like Michael Redmond commentating, and Michael Redmond is so cool, but he's like, you know, an established, very respectable and courteous person who just kind of just gives his insights on the situation. So I don't know, maybe more people just need to go ahead and commentate even though they have no qualifications for it and just be bombastic about it, but I don't know. And then Sadaharu has one more comment about the other episode. Congrats on your first commentary. Watched the stream just to see what you looked like. I must say you look very differently from what I had imagined. I know what you are feeling, and I've experienced that as well. And just don't tell me what you imagined because I don't want to know. Well, question of the week this week: what insights have you gained from another hobby or activity that applies to Go learning? Have you learned something from another hobby of yours that has kind of informed the way you learn Go and vice versa? As I've shared with you today with guitar and Go. If you want to share your thoughts on that question, please do. And share it wherever you found this episode by leaving a comment, or you can email me at starpointpaduk@gmail.com. That's starpointbaduk@gmail.com. If you're a YouTube listener, I would greatly appreciate a like and a subscribe. If you're a podcast listener, reviews and ratings also help. A special thank you to James B., Brendan S., Tristan, Jeff H., and Tyrannoton for supporting Starpoint. Thanks so much, you guys. If you want to support the show in any capacity, go to ko-fi.com/StarpointPazook. That's KO-FI, or check out the Starpoint store at store.starpointpazook.com. And come on over to the Discord. You can find the link in the description. If you are listening to this episode, you can find it in the description. If you're listening to, I don't know when the Discord started, but that's when you can start joining the Discord. So welcome aboard. I once saw a man take a really, really nice, chunky, thick goban with legs and everything, and he was carving it. I know, atrocious, crazy. Like, why would you do that? And he was carving it. He was carving the wood, shaving pieces off, and I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's a perfectly fine goban. And he didn't answer me, and he just kept carving, and I just stood there, mouth agape, watching him carve into this goban, and eventually he carved it into quite an impressive carving of a gourd. It was just a really nice gourd shape. And I mean, I was very impressed with the gourd, but after, I was still kind of boggled, like, why couldn't you use another piece of wood that, you didn't have to ruin a whole go board for it. And after he was done, he took a bow and tied it around the gourd so that this bow was sitting nice on the gourd. And I was still flabbergasted why he did this. And then he just looked at me and he said, I turned the go board into a bow gourd. Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep playing Go.